Do you take online contest information and just regular form data on your radio station website? If so, the information that you obtain is protected under certain privacy laws. And today we'll talk about those privacy laws and how you can protect yourself and the personal information that you receive on your radio station website.
You're listening to Better Radio Websites, the definitive podcast for radio professionals who want their websites to generate more traffic and substantial revenue. Get time-tested techniques, secret tricks, and valuable tools in online content, marketing, analytics, security, social media, and much more. Ready for your radio station to dominate digital in your market? Here we go.
Hi, it's Jim, and welcome to Better Radio Websites, the podcast that wants to help you get more visitors and the most revenue from your radio station website. Thanks a lot for tuning in this week. If you're on our YouTube channel, be sure that you like and subscribe. And if you are getting the audio version of this podcast, be sure that you leave a rating and leave us a comment, because all of those ratings and comments and subscribes and likes, they all help this channel grow and for more people to get this valuable information and help out their radio station website. Thank you so much for doing that. Privacy laws. They protect the personal information that any website receives from their visitors. And this can include like names, email addresses, location data like addresses, that sort of thing. A typical intake form on a radio station website might be the contest form or your just contact us form. And sometimes you might ask for other information like their address or something like that. You're probably not going to ask for a social security number or something like that, obviously, but still the information that you do take in can identify that person online in some way. And the data that you're receiving should be considered as protected information. Website privacy rights, they are necessary because they give individuals control over their personal information and how it's being used online. Without these rights in place, any company or organization could collect and use that information however they wanted to and make all kinds of money from sharing that information back and forth. And that would lead to much more unwanted messages, more junk appearing in your mailbox, and other targeted advertising, and even identity theft. So that's why we need these protections in place. They're a good thing. Additionally, website privacy rights assure that websites are being transparent about what they're doing with the data that they collect. That means that websites must inform people about what information is being collected and how it's being used, and whom, if there is anybody, whom it's being shared with. And this knowledge lets our website visitors be informed before they enter their information, on a contest form or a contact us form. They may not even decide to enter a contest if they see that their information is going to be shared with the contest sponsor. We need to be upfront with that on all of our contest entry forms, because it could come to bite us later on, because sharing someone's information without them knowing about it and approving that could be a privacy nightmare, because privacy laws can impose very high penalties for violations, and penalties are calculated per violation, meaning per website visitor whose privacy rights were infringed upon. Got 300 or 400 entries in your contest and you shared that with a client? That's 300 or 400 individual violations that you could have to answer for. One of the most important privacy rights out there is the right to opt out of data collection. That means that individuals can choose not to have their information collected by a website. So if your station plans to share information collected on any type of form with anybody else, that needs to be upfront before the person enters that information into that form. It can't be put on there after, because there are ways of knowing when that information was placed on a website. That may mean that the sponsor of your contest, who you promised all of those entries for, they only receive a small percentage. If you promise them 300 to 400 entries and they only get 2 because those 2 said, yeah, I will allow my information to be shared, then they only get 2. It's better than having 300 or 400 violations that you have to answer for, because the form is on your website. It's not on the client's website. All right. So know your privacy laws. The United States and Europe have the most comprehensive data security and privacy laws in place. The European Union's GDPR, or General Data Protection Regulation, that came into effect back in 2018. And then California has the Consumer Privacy Act, or CCPA, that went into effect back in 2020. There are no federal laws that require any business to have a privacy policy on their website. But there are several laws out there, including federal and state laws, that have provisions on data privacy. Some are brand new this year. A couple went into effect on January 1st. There's a couple that are going into effect in July, some in September. Now, most of these state laws only apply to the individual states, but what if your radio station signal crosses state lines and you have somebody in a state that does have one of these laws in place sign up for your contest in your state? Maybe time to get a lawyer involved, right? Still, you don't want to be involved in some frivolous lawsuit regardless of the outcome. So have a website privacy policy in place on your radio station website. You'll likely have general contest rules and even rules per contest. It's also good to include privacy disclosures as well, just to let people know up front what you're going to do or not do with the information that you collect. Now, there are 3 big reasons why you want a privacy page on your radio station website. Number 1 is privacy policy agreements are required by law worldwide if you are collecting data that can be used to identify an individual. If your station is online, it is still accessible in the European Union and in California. Your website is still accessible in those areas. So you essentially fall under that law if someone in one of those areas signed up on your website. Okay? If somebody really wanted to go after you, they could, even from Europe or anywhere else. Okay? So be sure that you have a privacy page that covers you just in case. Number 2 is many third-party services out there like Google Analytics require that you have a privacy policy page because the data that they collect are in the form of cookies that contain certain user information that could identify somebody. So if your radio station website privacy policy that you have right now does not cover the cookies that you're getting information from to track visitors on your radio station website, if it doesn't cover that, then it should, and right away. All right, number 3 is show that you care. People care a lot about their personal privacy, especially when it comes to things like their home address. Nobody wants more junk appearing in their mailbox every week. So include a privacy policy on your radio station website as a way of just showing that you care about that and that you can be trusted with their personal information. That's going to go a long way to helping out your radio station website and building that loyalty that we've talked about in numerous other podcasts. All right, so what should be in your privacy policy page? Well, every privacy law is a little bit different, but the following disclosures are normally required. The personal information that you are collecting, where that personal information is going to be obtained from, like a contest form or a contact us form, that sort of thing. How that personal information is going to be used, whether that information is going to be shared with somebody, if it's going to be sold to somebody, that is separate. Yes, we're going to be shared, and yes, we're going to receive compensation. And if we do receive compensation, it's going to be in the form of this. Whether a financial incentive is being offered, show that information and in what way you're being compensated. How an individual can contact the radio station to exercise their privacy rights, including what information that they need to do to identify themselves in order to get that information off of your website if they wanted to. How they can opt out of the sale of their personal information, using their personal information in any kind of targeted advertising or even their geolocation information. The title and contact information of the person that's in charge of the personal information on your radio station, that information needs to be in there, and how an individual can contact the radio station if they have any questions about personal privacy and how the radio station is going about it. All right, those are some general things that are more than likely going to be in a privacy policy page. If you never provide listener information to anybody outside of the radio station, including sponsors or anything like that, it's good to have a generic privacy page anyway, just so that people can trust that your radio station is going to be caring of the information that they have. All right. So you're going to you keep it in your website. It's going to be stored there. And as soon as we're done with the contest or anything like that, we're going to just erase it and it's going to be gone. As a matter of fact, we have a sample copy of a generic privacy policy page in our show notes that you can go to and just copy and paste onto your radio station website. Now, it's important to know that this may or may not cover you in your specific state because you need to determine what your privacy laws are in your particular state. And if your radio station goes outside of the state that your radio station is located in, if those states have any privacy policies that you need to be aware of. But with increasing online activity going on, website privacy rights have become more important than ever. And it's important for radio stations to be aware of those rights and then to take the steps to protect the information that we receive from our listeners. Now, a privacy policy is one of the most important legal agreements that you can put on your website. And with that, I should say that today's episode is just a starting point for compliance with that, okay? There are new laws coming out. The very best information that you can get about this is by contacting your legal attorney. This is just a starting place. This is not legal advice. We're not giving any kind of information like that here because we don't have the skills to do that. We help people with their radio station website, and that's what we want to do for you, okay? So reach out to your legal team on that, and if you need help with your radio station website, reach out to us at skyrocketradio.com. That's all for this week. Have an awesome week online making your radio station website better. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Better Radio Websites. Remember to subscribe, leave a rating or comment, and share this episode with your team and radio colleagues. For show notes, archived episodes, and more free resources, visit betterradiowebsites.com. Need help starting or making your radio website better? Visit skyrocketradio.com.